Welcome to what might be the most non-TBR TBR I have ever done. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome to my reading life and welcome to my April TBR, or is it a TBR? If you saw my recent reading life update, you will know that I am trying to let go of what I should be reading and lean into a lot more mood reading in the next few months, just because I feel like I've been struggling with my reading concentration because I'm too busy thinking about what I should be reading next. And I'm going to try to let some of that go and get back to my roots of mood reading and just pick up the next book that sounds fantastic to me and dive into that. As such, this is going to be a very short and sweet TBR. I do have some books that I am reading for book clubs, for buddy reads, for read-alongs, and of course I'm going to read those in April, but outside of these particular books, I'm just going to read what I want to read. I'm letting go of all the monthly goals and parameters I have set for myself, and I'm just going to read for the pure pleasure of reading. And really, that's what reading should be about, shouldn't it? But let us get into this non-TBR TBR. This may not take very long. We shall see. But regardless, grab yourself a warm cup of something. We are having the strangest weather here in California. It was over 80 degrees yesterday. Today, it's only going to be about 65. So I'm definitely in need of a warm beverage. But grab yourself something you would like and settle in for this April, not sure what to call it, TBR? First up is a buddy read book, and this book I am going to read with my good friend Melissa, and both of us want to read this before the BBC miniseries comes out here in the US, which I believe is coming at the beginning of May, and we are going to read Miss Austen by Jill Hornby. And I have had this on my shelf for a very long time. Did I put in here how long I've had this? Yes, I got this in June of 2022. I have not read it yet. And now it feels like the perfect time to read this with the miniseries coming out. And this is about Cassandra Austen, Jane's sister. It takes place 23 years after the death of Jane Austen, and Cassandra returns to the village of Kintbury and the home of her family friends, the Fowles. She knows that in a dusty corner of the sprawling vicarage, there is a trove of Jane's letters, which hold secrets she is desperate should not be revealed. As Cassandra recalls her youth and her relationship with her brilliant, complicated sister, she confronts buried truths about Jane's history and her own, and she faces a stark choice should she reveal the most private details of their lives to the world or commit her sister's legacy to the flames. I think we probably know what happens if you are at all familiar with Jane Austen's history, but nevertheless, I am very excited to read this. It looks like, I don't think it's really written as like journals, but each chapter looks like it's a specific place and time, and there are some letters in here. Obviously, I think they are, reproductions or imaginings of Jane Austen's letters. So very, very much looking forward to this and to continuing on with more Jane Austen as we celebrate Jane Austen's 250th year this year. Next up, my Gilded Age buddy read group is taking a break from a Gilded Age book this month, and we are going to read one of my all-time favorite authors, and that is Laurie Colwin. We're going to read Home Cooking, which is her food memoir. It says A Writer in the Kitchen is what the subtitle is of this, and this is just all about Laurie and food and cooking, and it's so cozy, it's so lovely, and this is really, I think, one of the first food type memoirs out there before food memoirs really became a thing that people wrote, and it is just a delight, and I cannot wait to revisit it. This will be maybe my fourth time reading it. I've read it quite a few times. It is so wonderful. And there are some really fantastic recipes in here. So if you like recipes in your book, definitely give Home Cooking a try. Before I mention the next 3 books that I have on my TBR for April, I do need to state that I think April is going to be a bit of a middlebrow reading month. I am jam-packed with my favorite British early to mid 20th century authors, and I am not unhappy about that at all. I am definitely going to be leaning into this, and so I'm very, very excited. The first book that I have is the pick for the Cozy Reader Book Club for April, and we are going to read Anna and Her Daughters by D.E. Stevenson. This is a D.E. Stevenson I have not yet read, and in this one we follow Anna Harcourt and her 3 daughters, lovely Helen, who always gets what she wants, young Jane, who makes the best of what she has, and Rosalie, the middle daughter, who wavers somewhere in between. The world is turned upside down by their father's death and the discovery that they will have to sell their London home. The girls are shocked when Anna buys a cottage in Riddleton, her hometown in Scotland, but they soon settle into Scottish life, each in her own way. As time passes, the 3 girls must contend with love and tragedy, hope and despair, laughter and tears, all unfolding with D.E. Stevenson's incomparable storytelling and knowledge of human nature. I am so looking forward to this. I just love D.E. Stevenson. She's one of my very favorite authors, and I love how she writes about Scotland. So excited to be going back there with her. And yes, cannot wait to read this and then discuss it with the Cozy Reader Book Club members. Anyone is welcome to join the Cozy Reader Book Club. You can join us anytime for any month, for as many months as you like. Please feel free to send me an email and I will get you added to our mailing list. Next up is another D.E. Stevenson novel, and this one I'm going to be buddy reading with one of my lovely subscribers, Jacqueline. And Jacqueline and I have been chit-chatting about D.E. Stevenson. We've both been reading and loving her, and we both have Amberwell on our TBRs. I have it on my Kindle. We are going to buddy read Amberwell in April, and then we are going to read the second book in this duology, Summer Hills, in May. Very much looking forward to it. Amberwell tells the story of the Ayrton family, 5 siblings raised by cool and distant parents, scattered afar in adulthood but brought together by the oncoming Second World War. The eponymous estate on the west coast of Scotland has been in the Ayrton family for several generations, descending from father to son in an unbroken line. By family tradition, each new owner was to add to the amenities of the place, and in this way, Amberwell grew larger and more beautiful as the years went by, endowed with gardens and terraces and orchards. Sweet and melancholy, Amberwell paints a vivid picture of one family torn apart by wider events of the world. Well, that sounds very good. Looking forward to that one, and then to reading Summer Hills in May. So thank you to Jacqueline for buddy reading those with me. Next up, and keeping with the Middlebrow books for April, is going to be the book we chose for my Patreon read-along. We are going to be doing quarterly read-alongs in my Patreon if you join at the Book Jenny's level. And our first book is Near Neighbors by Molly Clavering. And Molly Clavering was good friends with D.E. Stevenson. I have already read this book, so this is going to be a reread for me. So excited to read it again and then discuss it with all of the Book Jenny's members. And it's not too late to join us if you want to join at the Book Jenny level. The link to my Patreon is down in the description box below. I would love to have you join us. But Near Neighbors tells us the story of Miss Balfour, and she is finding her way after the sudden death of her domineering sister Belle, who, following a failed marriage many years ago, had returned home and made a career of browbeating her meeker sibling. But Dorothea soon begins exploring her newfound freedom, observing and then becoming happily enmeshed in the doings of her neighbors, the widowed Mrs. Lennox, and her 5 unusual and charming children with whom Belle had always forbidden contact. Domestic challenges, romantic difficulties, and efforts to aid a painter's abandoned family all are facilitated by Dorothea's calm intelligence, and before long she has drama of her own, from her spontaneous rescue of an endangered child to her encounter with Belle's long-lost husband, from whom she learns some surprising secrets. Yes, this is it's such a wonderful read, and I am so looking forward to revisiting it. And the final book on my April TBR is, of course, Emma M. Lyon, Volume 4, which we are reading for my Emma M. Lyon read-along this year. This is going to continue Emma's story, and if you would like to join us, you are welcome to do so. I have both a Discord group as well as we do a live video at the end of each month to wrap up that particular volume, and that is on the last Friday of the month if you want to join us. And I am having such a wonderful time rereading Emma and spending time with her in St. Crispian's and with all of her eclectic group of friends and family, and this series is so lovely and it just gets better and better. Cannot wait to dive into Volume 4. And really, those are the only books that I am for sure going to read in April. I have had a few other books and things that I have sort of set goals for myself over the past few months to read. I was reading an Agatha Christie off of my shelf. I wanted to read, a mystery, a classic, a book off my Kindle every month. And I'm gonna kind of let all that stuff go, at least for the next month or two, just to try to get my reading back to a place where I'm really focused and immersed in the books that I'm reading. And that's not to say that I'm not going to read an Agatha Christie or that I'm not going to read a classic. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about classics in my upcoming reading update video that will be coming out next week, so stay tuned for that. But I'm really I'm going with the flow. If you saw my video of my reading life update, I mentioned Jack at Spread Book Joy's video where she talked about thinking about your unread books or your TBR shelf like a river flowing past you, from which you can just pluck a book whenever you feel like it. And that is what I am planning to do. Now, I really am in the mood for this particular book, so I'm going to share one more book with you that I'm going to read, and then I may just keep on going in the series because I feel like this is one of those situations where I said I was going to read one book from this series every month, and then I read that book, and then I really just want to keep going. And so I think I might just do that if that's how I feel after I read this book. And that is the next in the Mrs. Polifax series, which is Mrs. Polifax on the China Station. And this is book 6, I want to say. Yes, book 6 in the series. And yes, if I'm really just feeling in the mood for more Mrs. Polifax, then I'm just going to roll with that. And I'm just going to continue on with the series. So who knows? This could be all Middlebrow, all Mrs. Polifax in April. I don't know. I'm just going to go with whatever I'm in the mood for. And that's it for my short and sweet April non-TBR TBR. We will see what I'm feeling like I'm in the mood for in April. I'm kind of feeling like I'm very much in a mystery mood. So like I said, Mrs. Polifax. I'm reading a really good mystery right now that I will definitely be sharing in an upcoming video because it's really good. And yes, I don't know. I might still be in the mood for a little bit of middle grade. I didn't read as much middle grade this middle grade March as I have in past years, which was totally fine. I was really trying not to get myself into a reading slump, and so halfway through March, I sort of just abandoned all my plans and just kind of went with what I felt like reading, and that's really what I'm doing. And here's a question for all of you. Do you ever put off reading a book even though you really want to read it and it's really what you're in the mood for? I don't know what that is. Sometimes I feel like it's the anticipation of reading that book and the excitement of, oh, this could be a book that changes my life or the best book I've read this year. And so sometimes I delay that gratification. Sometimes I think I'm worried that I've put too much expectations on a particular book. And so I don't want to start it because I'm worried it's going to let me down. But I'm trying to just, when a book comes into my mind and into my heart and I feel like that's what I want to read, I'm trying not to put that off anymore. I'm trying to just say, you know what, I'm going to start this. And it was funny because the mystery I was just talking about, I almost didn't pick it up. I picked up another middle grade, and then I thought to myself, this isn't really what I want to be reading. I really want to read that mystery. Why am I not picking this up? And so I just picked it up and started it. Even though I have a few other books on the go right now, I thought I'm just going to dive into it. And I'm so glad that I did because it is giving me so much joy right now. It is such a page turner and I'm completely just enmeshed in the story. So be that as it may, I don't know if I'm strange in that I do that sometimes and delay the gratification of reading a book, but I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to lean into reading, those books that I just feel drawn to reading at the time I want to read them. So we'll see how that goes. I will update you when I do my reading update at the end of April, beginning of May. And that is going to be it again for this non-TBR April TBR. I would love to hear from you. Are you putting together a TBR from April? Are you just going to read what you want to read? How do you plan your monthly reading, or do you plan your monthly reading? Again, this is one of those things where it feels a bit artificial to arbitrarily put together a monthly TBR. Because why? Just because it's the beginning of a new month? I mean, I don't know. That's something to consider. I mean, obviously I do have, buddy reads and book club books and things that are time sensitive. So I certainly, need to keep track of those and, need to start them before I need to have them read. But I don't know. Time. I keep thinking about time and reading and these sort of time-oriented aspects of reading and the reading life that I feel like have been constructed since I have joined sort of the book community online. And that's not to say I don't want to do them. I'm just, pondering that. Wow. I was not expecting to get into that whole little philosophical, ideological thought process there. I don't know what was going on. Yes, but I would love to hear from you if you have any April reading plans, or if you're just going to go with your mood. If you are going to go with your mood, what kind of a reading mood are you in at the moment? Is there a particular genre or category of books that is kind of speaking to you right now? I would love to know that in the comments. And if you've made it this far and you don't have anything you'd like to add in the comments, but you would like to let me know that you were here, comments really do help my channel. Why don't you leave a food emoji of some sort? Since I'm reading Home Cooking this month, and that is a very food-based book, yes. Show me your favorite foods. Leave me your favorite food emoji. I would love to see that. If there is an emoji of your favorite food. I know they don't have emojis of everything. I would probably leave a donut. Thank you all so much for joining me and for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I really do appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, if you could hit that like button and subscribe if you weren't already subscribed, I would love to have you join my bookish community. And I'll be back with another video very soon. Bye.